Hello and welcome. My name is Martin Jones, and as you can see from the branding over my shoulder, I am coming to you from the LSBF TV. LSBF TV, actually you can see the full branding just by the Greek temple architectural feature there. London School of Business and Finance. LSBF TV is presenting AAT, which you can just about see on my t-shirt there. I love AAT. It is absolutely true. I love AAT. And indeed, I've been teaching AAT for 1,000 years and haven't taught much AAT recently. And it's a great pleasure to come back to AAT and teach you some stuff. And teaching AAT as I have been over the last 2 weeks. This is the third of 4 that I'm doing actually. So teaching AAT over the last couple of weeks has reminded me about the challenges of level 2. As you work your way up in financial reporting, you'll find that the financial reporting becomes easier, frankly. It becomes harder in some ways, but it becomes easier in other ways. First of all, and very significantly, financial reporting is governed by financial standards, which means there is actually right and wrong. And secondly, you're expected to understand things rather than simply record things. And that's not the case here in the next hour. In the next hour, I'm going to be doing the 2 bookkeeping papers. The transactions one first and then the controls one second in the second half hour. And bookkeeping is a language, and the people who communicate in any language do so with their own accent. It's very natural for me to talk with a very slight Scouse accent because I come from Liverpool, and it's very much the same in bookkeeping as well. The way that you might communicate at work might be reflecting your personality, or frankly, it might be reflecting your boss's personality. But the way that you need to communicate in the AAT examination room, in the computer-based examination room, is in accordance with the language of AAT. And it's a little bit tricky to get into someone else's language. It's always true. And therefore, I found in the last couple of weeks the bookkeeping hour to be the most challenging of the 3 hours that I do on AAT. So don't be surprised if you see my eyebrows knitting every now and again and me struggling with the odd bit here and there, because it is tricky. And if you're doing this for the first time and finding it tricky, that's because it's tricky. Feel good about that. Okay, here I go, mini-me, with the task behind me. As you can see, we've got bookkeeping transactions. Just to make me feel more comfortable, I've got reference to the time there, which is 2 till 2:30. Actually, we'll be finishing just before 2:30 to allow the opportunity to change studios and that sort of thing. And then we've got task 5 of 10. So this is me doing task 5. I'll be doing task 6 next time around, next Friday. And as you can see from the introduction there, it relates to petty cash. And I suppose I should relax a little bit, to be honest with you, because petty cash compared to what I was doing last week is an absolute doddle. Last week we were doing VAT bookkeeping, which is pretty challenging, especially trying to explain that to a camera. There is a camera in front of me. If you are watching me now, then I am not actually looking at you. It looks like I'm looking at you, but actually I'm looking at an unblinking camera that's just staring back at me. And teaching VAT into a camera, not easy. So where's the pen gone? Oh, the pen's gone under there we go, under a bit of paperwork. So here we go. If I can just drag this down a little bit, then I can talk it through with you. There we go. Task number 5, the 2 petty cash vouchers are ready to be entered into the partially completed petty cash book. Petty cash vouchers. Petty cash vouchers record the spending of literally cash, notes and coins. It's another part of financial reporting language and bookkeeping language that the word cash, generally speaking, is referring to the bank balance, when we describe ourselves as having a cash transaction, it nearly always means that we are talking about money being spent at the bank, often electronically these days. But of course, it is necessary every now and again to dip into notes and coins and spend that money. And it looks like that was necessary for some postage stamps and for some motor repairs. And it's created these vouchers. The person who spent the 32.29 has justified their spending by writing out that voucher just over my shoulder, and then the person who spent the 30.60 has written the voucher just on the other side to justify the 30.60. So what's the requirement? The requirement is complete the petty cash book by entering both transactions into the petty cash book below, totaling the petty cash book and inserting the balance carried down. And as you can see, that's the majority of the marks. Now, sometimes I get caught out by exercises that need to be done at the end. There's actually a bucket load of exercises that need to be done at the end on the other one, but this one is not too bad. It looks like I should have plenty of time to do this one, and therefore not need to go quite so fast. It's the classic drive on the left, crash on the right is the first thing here. So it doesn't really look much like a T account, but it is intended, the AAT are intending to communicate the idea of a T account to you there. So I'll just put that. This is taken from the AAT, by the way. This is the AAT exam from 2016. And there's the T. Bit of a wiggly line there, but it works okay. And we've got drive on the left, crash on the right, which means that you've got the asset above my head, and you've got the spending of the asset on the right hand side. Sorry, my CR does not look much like a CR, does it? Bit too curly. There you go, slightly less curly. And so just to say it again, the asset is on the left, just above my head, and the spending of the asset is on the right hand side. And what am I doing here? I am accommodating two spending transactions, which would be probably best approached by chucking in the numbers first. I think I'm going to benefit from doing this. I've not tried this actually. There's a bit of grayscale if I do that, but I think it makes it easier for me to see everything on the screen at the same time. Same for you, I think. So what's the money here? So 32 spot 29 goes in there. What should we use? Blue to make it stand out. So that's 3 2 spot 29 there, and 30 60 next door. So 30 60 next door. The examination, the real examination, is electronic. It's done on computer, and by and large for the bookkeeping exams, both of them, you type in the numbers. You type in the numbers and you draw down from a drop down the best description to go next to the numbers. This is a bit of a squeeze for me to write. In the grayscale, I've got to write postage stamps and motor repairs, which is a bit of a squeeze, isn't it? So I'll change the scale. But actually in the real exam, it's much easier because you just select. So postage stamps, let's see if I can write reasonably neatly. Well, that is very neat. That's not like me. Postage stamps. There. Bit of stuttering with the pen. And what was the other one? Motor repairs. Use the exact phrase. Motor repairs. There we go. Motor repairs. And these two phrases were available on a drop-down menu that had the right answer and a number of distractors as well. And one of them's got VAT, the other one hasn't. So we just need to analyse out the VAT, which, oh sorry guys, just put my pen in the wrong place. Which one's got VAT? It's the second one, isn't it? So 510 in VAT in there. And the actual expenses was 25.50. So what I'm paying for the motor repair is 25.50. What I'm paying the government in VAT is 5.10. No VAT on the postage stamps, so it's all postage stamps expense, which is office expenses. That works, doesn't it? 32.29. And what I need to do is add down and balance the books. So how do I do this? Depends on what you like at mental arithmetic. But if you add down on the left hand side, you can see you get more than 100. And if you add down on the right hand side, you can see you get less than 100. Maybe I need to be a bit more clear about which columns I'm doing the mental arithmetic on. So let me just show you that. So if you add down here in yellow, you get more than 100. And if you add down here in orange, you get less than 100. And when you're balancing a T account, you go for the big one first. So the big one is this number here. You may actually be able to do that in your head without the need for a calculator, but what the heck. According to this clock over here, I've got plenty of time, so I'm going to go for it. 37.6 plus 87.4 equals 125. And I'll talk about the meaning of that number in a moment. So that's 125 spot 0 actually. Let's go back up to the full scale so I can write a bit neater. Oh, that's okay, that's not too bad, is it? And then we put in 125 spot 0 there. And then we add down just to give us a balance. They've gone for brought forward there, haven't they? Which is, sometimes they go for brought forward and sometimes go for brought down. They mean exactly the same thing, so you'd just be choosing, you know, either the balance carried down or the balance carried forward. In this particular case, it was the balance carried forward. They do mean the same thing. So balance, let's do it exactly as it's presented there. So balance, it's a bit of squeezing, but we can do this. Carried forward, even with the slash there. So 125 minus 23 spot 46 minus 32 spot 29 minus 30 spot 6 equals, what did I do wrong there? I think I must have pressed plus at one stage. So 125 minus 23 spot 46 minus 32.29 minus 30.6 equals 38.65. There we go. That's basically it. That's basically the job done. Essentially. Just making sure I'm not selling you any dodgy sales. Well, you know, to complete the full 14 marks, can you still see the 14 marks just there? All you need to do is just total down and finish the job. So, yeah, I should be able to do this in my head, shouldn't I? So 1 plus that gives us 0, carry 1. So it's 6901, 25 spot 50, and 4 carry 1, 6, 8, 1 carry 1, 4, 5, 51, 84, and again, why not just check? I'm not selling you any dodgy numbers there. Yeah, all looks good to me. Of course, if I was in a real classroom, I'd be asking you to tell me what numbers did you add down. But as this is a camera I'm talking to, I better just check it against the printed answers. So what do I need to say? Well, there is a little bit that I need to say in order to move on to the next job. So I'll introduce the next job, and then it's only 1 mark, isn't it? Gosh, that's not very much. So it doesn't really matter whether you understand this or not, as written there, but it is worth understanding. It's the whole logic of what is going on in this thing over my shoulder. So I'll just change the scale so it's a bit more visible, get the whole thing just behind me. This thing is called the petty cash book, and the way that a petty cash book works is, I was just looking for some props around here, there aren't any. So the classic way that a petty cash tin works is that you get yourself a biscuit tin, nice big biscuit tin, and you chuck in a standard balance as at the beginning of the life of the biscuit tin, the petty cash tin. And these guys have gone for an imprest of 125. Yeah, there you go. I've just given away the jargon for the standard balance. So the standard balance in a petty cash, the classic petty cash system, is called the imprest. It's imprest with a T, not impressed as in whoa, but this imprest. Does it say it there? The imprest. Can you see the T there? The imprest. And what it means is the standard level of cash that must be in the tin as at each month start. So these guys have an imprest of 125, which means that the spending for the month is limited to 125 because there's only 125 in the tin. That's the first thing to say. And then the way that it works is that the boss chucks in 125, and then that balance of 125 is then whittled down, whittled down, whittled down, whittled down to whatever. In this case, it's whittled down to a balance of 38.65. There it is there, 38.65. So the balance is whittled down, whittled down, whittled down, whittled down, whittled down until it gets to whatever it gets to. In this case, 38.65. And then the boss comes and looks at the tin and chucks in the appropriate amount to bring it back up to 125. So, oh gosh, I could draw a nice graph of that, couldn't I? But maybe that's a bit too scientific for what we want here. But I've learnt my lessons here. You need to make sure, as a presenter, I need to make sure I actually answer the question before I go off piste. So the question is, what will be the amount of cash withdrawn from the bank to restore the imprest level to 125? Gosh, that's ambiguous, isn't it? The use of cash, as in notes and coins cash in this case. So what amount of cash will be withdrawn from the cash to get the imprest back up to 125? How many notes and coins will need to be taken out of the bank account and chucked into the biscuit tin in order to get the balance back up to 125? Well, let's go big scale again. In order to get the 125, clearly we need to get up to 125. That's the total that we need, is 125. We already have, what was the figure? 38.65, so 38.65. So we're going to leave 35 pence in coins, and 9 from 5 is 6. And 3 from 12 is 9, so it should be 96. And again, I'm going to cheat, make sure I give you the right number. And I haven't. It's a good job I'm checking this. So let's just double check that. What did I do wrong there? Oh, of course, yes, 8 from 5. What am I doing there? 8 from 5 gives, yes, 8 from, yeah. Should I do that again? So 35 off that knocks off £1, so that becomes 4. 8 from 14 leaves 6, and then I've got 11, so I've got 4 minus, got 4 from 8 gives 96. Do you know what? I think I'll do my calculator. Clearly not having the best of moments there. Oh, I've got the number here already, so I can just change the sign. Plus 125 equals 8635. And indeed, my calculator in my head's clearly not working anymore. It's hardly surprising. I've been working on money market hedges all morning, and my head is completely fried as a consequence of working on financial management for hours and hours on end. Yeah, it was all right, mental arithmetic this morning, but it seems to have rather crashed a bit. What's the best way of doing that? So 40 from 125 would have been the best way of doing it, wouldn't it? I should have done that. 40 from 125 gives 85. 85 plus 135, that's what I should have done. Yeah. That would have been the way to do it. Oh, I've got to stick it in the box, haven't I? So 86, 35, and in case you're wondering whether that really is correct, I am cheating. The answers are here, and they do agree with that. So that is the correct answer. And I've got a couple of minutes left to tell you that little bit that I hadn't told you about the impressed system. It's quite clever, actually. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you something really visual. I don't have any props here, but what the way that the system works is, can I use the information here? The way that the system works is that, I think I'll start like this. I'll give you a bit of fresh, new, brand new space. Just let me just make sure I've got that nicely shaped. So we have, I tell you what, we'll have the start of the month, the middle of the month, and the end of the month. Am I going to end up running out of time if I start getting into this? No, it should be all right. So at the beginning, the biscuit tin has a float of 125. Then it has a float of 125. And then it has a float of 125. Those biscuit tins are not quite perfect, but this does need to be perfect. It needs to be lined up. You've got a float of 125, a float of 125, and a float of 125. And the way that the system actually works is that when you take cash out of the biscuit tin, when you come back with the postage stamps, and making you the person spending the postage stamps money in the middle, the 32.29. When you come back with the postage stamps, you then chuck into the biscuit tin the petty cash voucher. So you take money out, you go and spend it, you bring back your change and you chuck that in, and you chuck in the petty cash voucher, which is this thing here. And the idea is that at any point during the month, the float still stays floating at 125. It's quite a clever system. It's only £125. It's probably a bit too clever for the amount of money that's involved, but it's quite a clever system. So what you do is you start at the beginning of the month. What should we have for money? Greenbacks are green, aren't they? So should we have green? What you do is you start with 125 in literally cash, notes and coins, £125. And then at any measurement point, I'll just put a little line here. What you will have is a balance that together adds to 125. So the way that the T account is working at the moment is that you have 1, 2, 3 vouchers and the cash still equaling 125. That's how that works. I've got to be careful not to run out of time, so I'll just translate that over here. So that's the, what should we go for? Red. Red. That's the vouchers and cash combined still being 125. And how many time? Almost time. And that is the 3 vouchers. So the numbers are, there they are now, 38.65. No, 86.35. How many time? All right. And 38.65. Probably just off the screen at the moment, and I'll show you that now. So at this measurement point, we still have the float of 125. And then at the end of the month, the vouchers are taken out, the cash is thrown back in, and it goes back up to a full balance of cash of 125. So that's it. So the float stays still, and the vouchers go in, and the cash goes down, then it goes back up. Then it goes down, and then it goes back up. Then it goes down, and it goes back up. And that happens every month. So it goes down, and then back up, then down, and back up. Oh, that's technical, isn't it? So, time for me to close up now and wish you good luck with your studies. I'm going to go big head. Thank you very much for listening to me talking, first of all, about the way that we close out T accounts and refill the petty cash tin. And secondly, thank you for listening to me further for explaining in detail how the Impress system works. I wish you very good luck with your bookkeeping studies, and I'll be back in 3 minutes to show you the next bookkeeping recording. See you soon.